traveler. You hold the future of the entire planet in your hands. I'm here to take it back.
Lex.
You'll never threaten the world again. Kal-el.
Lex, don't!
I love you like a brother, Clark. But it has to end this way. I'm sorry.
Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Trip Around the Multiverse with your host, the generic kryptonite infused bad guy of the week, Carl Charles, and
the lady who should have died because of concussions, the amount of time she got smacked across the head, CY Chong.
yeah, oh gosh. And in this episode, as it marks, I want to say nearly 20 years? Wait.
Well, it came out in 2001, so yeah.
Oh wow, yeah, 20 years that SmallVille came out. We're gonna talk about SmallVille and what we liked, disliked, and just general discussion, I guess, of this.
Yeah. So when the show started, right?
Yeah.
What did you think? Like, did you hear about it before it started, or like did you know going in? Because nowadays we kind of, I guess we're more up with.
More savvy
internet,
with
yeah,
everything,
exactly.
Yeah.
Easy accessible with the internet. So if something's coming up, you're like, oh yeah, well, you know, hype or no hype or whatever. Like the Gotham Night show. You heard about that?
Yeah, that may or may not be a thing anymore.
yeah, exactly. The
Yeah.
Gotham Night show is the son of Batman, right? Who's partying or whatever he's doing, right? And Batman's disappeared or died or whatever, right? And then he goes around to find out what happened to Batman. And it's like, well, this doesn't make any sense, first of all, because what happened to Nightwing and all the Robins? Yeah.
Well, it depends what universe this is in.
Yeah,
Really.
I suppose. And are we saying that son is Damian Wayne? Damian Wayne. Oh, I probably won't be Damian Wayne, but and his party kids or whatever. Yeah, it's just like okay.
I think it's meant to be Damian Wayne.
Well, I did a teen drama, but that's not a. Yeah, I don't think it knows what that particular show knows what it's going to be. And
no.
Anyways, did
you
hear about any? What did you think about this show when I guess you heard the rumblings of it beginning to exist?
I believe so, because I remember my dad used to buy Empire magazine or something around then, and it was in that.
Yeah.
And it's me, SmallVille. I mean, a Superman early years sort of thing coming out. So
Superman who was a boy, but technically
a man. Yeah.
Well, technically he wasn't Superboy, you know.
No. And that was the first season. I enjoyed most of it, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I mean, look, okay, let me say this, right? Now looking back at it, these were like 22 episode seasons, yeah.
Yeah.
And it could have probably done with maybe 15, 16 episode seasons or something like that. It did not need 22.
No, not at all.
Yeah, because it just filler episodes of like you were saying, generic bad guy of the week, right?
Yeah.
It didn't take long for it to fall into that format. I think in the first 2 episodes they had generic bad guy of the week. When I say first 2 episodes, I mean the pilot episodes, which are put together in broadcast.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, right, but I like the technically the pilot and the second episode are 1 episode, right?
Yeah.
So I like that first episode. It felt like a good introduction to the characters and what they're doing and how they are and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
And there was obviously the bit with the SmallVille Scarecrow, where coincidentally they get a freshman, a 14-year-old in America, right?
Yeah, who's probably played by a 25-year-old. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll get that in a minute. Yeah. Get trussed up onto like a cross and then put in the cornfield.
Yeah.
And Lana Lang's boyfriend, Lana Lang, who Clark's enamored with.
Yeah.
Lana Lang's boyfriend, Whitney. Yes, there's a man called Whitney.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about it. Yeah.
He puts Clark up. He decides to bully Clark because Clark's getting too fresh with Lana.
Yeah.
And conveniently, Lana has a kryptonite necklace, so Clark can't get near her. Whitney happens to have the necklace when he decides to fight Clark. Not fight Clark, because Clark just crumbles over like a piece of paper.
Trash. Yeah.
Yeah. And then they put him up on the scarecrow thing.
Yeah,
so they could have the covers with the big S on him, because conveniently the scarecrow will have an S written on him. So Tom Welling's he's all buff as he would be, trussed up on that scarecrow in his blue boxers with the S written on his chest. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember this. Yeah.
Yep. And then what he does later on when he gets his revenge, a small little bit of revenge, right? After he deals with the bad guy with Week, and he can't go to the dance. He can't go to the dance with Lana anyways because she's already got a boyfriend. So what he attempted to do, regardless, right?
Yeah.
Not that he ever tried to go to that, right? But then he's like, right, well, as I can't do nothing there, right? What I'm gonna do is get Whitney's van and put it on top of his other, his school bros, his football bros van, truck, whatever. So they're just upside down on top of each other. And then he when they come out and go, who did this to my van? Clark's just not cracking up, he's smirking to himself. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, that's fine, that's fine. Yeah. But then I was like, okay, this kind of happened in Man of Steel.
Yeah, I was going to say that. It happened in Man of Steel and I want to say Norway. No, it wasn't Norway. That's freaking Justice League. But yeah, when Clark doesn't beat up that guy who tries to take advantage of that woman.
Yeah, he gropes her. She said no. Clark's like, look, calm down, boy. And then the guy gets up to try and shove Clark, and he goes and flies back, and Clark no-sells it, let him move.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the guy pulls beer over Clark's head. And then Clark just when the trucker comes out, he's all got these logs smashed through his truck. Yeah. And I'm like, well, okay, first of all, if Teen Clark did it and he's a 14-year-old and you're like, all right, fine, right? Because he's a rebellious teen, you're like, all right, he's immature, you can let it slide, right? Grown-up Clark, do it? It's a bit more dodgy because also Teen Clark just put the vans on top of the other, right? Didn't just destroy property and stuff like that. Not saying not saying right or wrong. What I'm saying is he's just like, wow, yes, one guy did it, but he did it on a different level of another guy, of the same character, but you know what I mean.
But he deserved it.
Okay.
It's either that or he's gonna punch a guy into oblivion. So
But yeah. So that's that. But as you were saying, right? Supposedly, when I was watching the show, okay.
Yeah.
I never thought they were supposed to be playing 14-year-olds.
No.
I was like, all right, clearly this must be Clark going to college or something like that, right?
Yeah, which would make more sense.
Yeah. But... Well, Kristen Crook playing Lana Lang and Alison Mack playing Chloe, they were 19, and Sam Jones III was 18, I think. But none of them looked like 14-year-olds. Right? And I just assumed they were just 18-year-olds going to college or something like that,
Yeah.
Because I was like, Tom Welling's massive.
Yeah.
14-year-old's not that big, not that buff either.
No, not even if you're an American kid where... Actually, to be fair, I was going to say, kids from the 80s who are all brought up on GM food. So, yeah, no, I can actually buy it now. There's nothing about it.
Well, the reason I was going for is he's Kryptonian, fair enough, right? But that doesn't explain Whitney Fordman, because he's also big.
But are they 14 or are they 16, 17?
No, they're 14. They're 14. And I'll explain it. So there is actually an episode where Clark says something about, just reminds me of when we were 14 years old or something like that. I'm like, right? Okay. Yeah. And which is kind of funny because there is an episode where they show them when they were 13, yeah? And they look proper like kids. It's just way late in the season. All right, and yeah, the actress and the actor playing Clark, they do look like they're 12 or something like that, right? Yeah. And then you're telling me 1 year later, you get massive like that. All right.
Yeah. That summer growth spurt, you never know.
Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of okay. Did you ever think it was creepy, right? So Michael Rosenbaum playing Lex Luthor, he was 30. His character was 25 though, right? So you got this 14-year-old, this quote unquote 14-year-old, right?
Yeah.
In loose fit clothing, by the way, just so they could try and hide how built Tom Welling is.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, yeah, but even in loose fit, you kind of, it's not really going to disguise when man's wearing t-shirts and stuff. Anyways.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this 14-year-old having this relationship, this friendship, with this 25-year-old. Did you ever find that odd when you're watching the show?
Yes.
Oh, did you?
No,
I'm like, what?
Like I kind of forgot about it until now. We recently brought up, like, yeah, that does seem a bit.
No, yeah, but the thing is, I'm looking at it, like they look kind of the same age, and there's only actually 5 years difference between the age of the actors, right? Or roughly thereabouts. So you think, okay, they can hang out with each other fine, but if he was actually 14 years, like a 14-year-old actor, yeah,
even more creepier, isn't it?
Yeah.
Unless any other way they could have sort of even saying they de-aged Luthor, still make it a bit weird.
Well, yeah, but then if they de-aged, if Clark's 14-year-old or whatever, right, and Luthor's like 18, yeah, then I suppose.
Yeah, that makes more sense. But even I don't know, it's the whole weird teenagers hanging out with adults. Yeah.
To be fair, so Lex driving right Lex got banished. Well, kind of, he got banished to Smallville-ish by his dad.
Yeah,
to teach him a lesson.
Yeah,
and he's like, all right, well, I'll run the plant in Smallville then. That's what I'm here for. And moved the castle, by the way, over to Smallville brick by brick years ago. Lionel Luthor did. Right? Okay, from Scotland, I believe.
Yeah, that's what rich people do, I guess.
Yeah. Exactly. So he's driving, and then some log falls out of a truck that's in front of him, and he had to. What was it? Barbed wire? No, I think it's a log.
Something like that. Yeah.
He reaches for his phone. Lex Luthor reaches for his phone in his Porsche. Doesn't see the log. Drives over the log. Clark is moping on the bridge, thinking, "Oh, Lana." Well, not exactly like that.
Yeah.
But, because something's happened. I can't remember exactly what it was. Maybe he got bullied by. No, was it? Maybe he got bullied by Whitney. I'm not 100% on that. I can't remember.
Yeah.
And he drives into Clark. They go falling in the river. Clark rescues Lex, and then that's how they become friends. I do like it though in season 2 because Lex just shrugs it off, like, "Oh yeah, he saved me," right? But then shenanigans start happening, and I think during season 2, he starts thinking, right, well, I have to look at how I survived the car crash.
Yeah.
And then it's like, so how did I survive? Because I should have died and crashed into Clark. But did I crash into him? And Clark's all lying to him. This is what I find funny about this show, right? Clark just basically lies all the time.
Yeah.
To hide the secret. He lies to everyone. It's quite hilarious, actually. But yeah, he's saying it's not me. I didn't blah, 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 right? Oh, no, I think it's a thread through season 1 and 2, actually. He when Clark gets upset, like, look, Lex is like, "Look, Clark, I think I survived the car crash for a reason. I did all my research." And then shows him the room where he's done all this, like, he's got all the graphs and all the crash Porsche and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
And Clark gets upset. Clark goes, "How dare you, what are you investigating these for? You survived and blah blah blah." I'm like, Clark, you're making yourself sound so shady.
Yeah, make this more obvious that it's you.
Yeah, and you're telling him to leave it be, right? But you're the one lying to him.
Yep.
And then you're just basically contradicting the evidence that's it presented in front of him. That's why he doesn't. No wonder why Lex Luthor goes insane, right?
Yeah, like when you think about it, Clark gaslit
him so much, right?
Yeah, to the point where that's Lex's actual like villain origin story, being gaslighted for like 10 years by your friend, and then
yeah. It's like so I can't trust anyone. I don't look. My dad taught Lionel Luthor, which Jonathan Glover's quite a standout actually.
Yeah, he's great.
Is always been like overbearing. You got to be strong, Lex. You got to be heartless and all of this stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then Lex finally finds a friend who has no reason to lie, like no agenda, no nothing, right? And then it turns out he has the worst agenda of them all.
Yep, lying to his whole friendship.
Yeah. That's one of the things I found. Well, when you watch it back, you're like, that is hilarious stuff.
Yeah.
Clark not being the greatest friend.
No, he is the master behind all this.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you remember, but anytime there's anything that Clark is involved in, that he kind of has to investigate, but not really.
Yeah.
He says to and it's something to do with the Luthors or whatever it is, right? Clark's conveniently there for some reason, and maybe the Luthors are tangentially involved in something, right?
Yeah.
And then when they question Clark about it, it's for a term paper. It's for a term paper. And he does it so many times that Lex eventually basically says to him, because he just appears again randomly. Yeah. And then then Lex goes to Clark, all right, so what? I guess you're here because of a term paper, right? He actually calls him out on it.
Because he was so obvious.
Yeah.
His friend.
Yeah. Some that's the stuff that is like, this is jokes. I tell you what's also jokes: the amount of people obsessed with Lana Lang.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, she's quite a good-looking lady.
Yeah.
But but then. Oh, this is a very random take I'm taking on this. Yeah, this is my random take.
Hit me.
Maybe she's only that popular because they're from like a back city town. If that makes any sense, where ethnic people ain't a rare thing.
All right, yeah, I see where you go with. I think where you're going with this.
Yeah,
she's exotic, right?
Yeah.
Which is another thing I was actually going to bring up. She's exotic, right? Kristen Crick is half Asian, Chinese, I think.
Yeah.
And German.
Yeah.
Or Dutch.
I think it's Dutch.
Yeah. Right. And funny enough, you point that out, right?
Yeah.
Actually, let me give you the other. This is the reason I had, right, as well.
Yeah.
I mean, being that she's a good-looking girl, but that's not the point, right?
Yeah.
How can you be obsessed with? Anyways, because she's wearing that kryptonite necklace. You know how they got the meteor freaks Yeah, so the kryptonite necklace that she's been wearing since she was her parents died in 1989.
Yeah.
And this shows like 2001, so she's been wearing the kryptonite necklace for like 12 years.
Yeah.
Maybe it mutated, gave her kryptonite powers of captivating allure.
It could be.
Yeah, exactly. Never thought that far, did you?
Yeah, that makes sense. Strangely.
I know, but that's us making excuses. But I will point out as well, as you're saying, Lana Lang's parents, neither of them are Asian. Like, for the fraction of the second you saw them before they got smashed by the meteor rocks.
Maybe they weren't her real parents either. I don't know. I'm just
funny you point that out, because in season 2, her dad turns out to be her biological dad. Turns out to be a white man who's a lawyer, right?
Yeah.
It was her mum had an affair or something. I don't know what exactly the case was, right? I can't remember. And yeah. So he was white, and the mum clearly was looking white, and she's Asian, half Asian. But kryptonite necklace once again can mutate your genes, right? We're going to go with that theory.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I think her biological father made an appearance in 2 episodes of season 2, and then never again mentioned. All right.
Guess he isn't that important.
Yeah. I do believe her aunt as well was in a good couple of episodes of season 1. And she don't look white either. I think she looks a bit exotic, but not Asian.
Yeah.
She might have been like Mediterranean or like some part of something, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, she didn't look straight white. So I could buy that was her aunt, but I can't necessarily buy her being her parents' child without someone having some sort of Asian background somewhere.
Yeah. Because don't they, in one season later on, a couple of seasons later on, don't they explore her family's lineage or something? Or am I thinking of a different character?
I think yeah. Way back when they, I think this is season 4 where she got possessed by a witch, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then she played her own ancestor.
Yeah, I always find it weird when shows do that.
Yeah, I think that was way later. Okay, fun enough, she played her own ancestor in the 16th century, right?
Yeah.
But Jor-el made a visit to Earth.
Yeah.
Sometime in the 70s, 60s, or whatever, right?
Wait,
he was played by Tom Welling. Even though Jor-el later on is played by Julian Sands. Yeah. And then Lana played her own grandmother, or I think I'm not sure exactly what the timeline was. She was the love interest for that episode, of Superman when he was playing Jor-el. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then later on, right? Because this is mighty convenient, right? Clark finds out the guy who so he tried to shoot. So the hick farmer tried to shoot Jor-el.
Yeah.
And ended up killing Lana's grandmother. I don't know exactly what the related, but that lady, right?
Yeah.
But he got away with it obviously because Jor-el had to they thought it was Jor-el, the man who made an appearance out of nowhere and then disappeared. They thought he was a killer. So this dude got away with it all this time, right? Until Clark decides, all right, well, I'm going to dress up as my father and then I'm going to come back and haunt this guy until he crumbles with a confession, which he did, right? But it's just like, okay, all right. What if you conveniently did not exactly look like a clone of your dad?
Yeah.
Also found it funny. So Julian Sands plays Jor-el.
Yeah.
But Terrence Stamp plays the voice of Jor-el. And they don't sound the same.
Another thing that's never made sense when they do these sort of things. I'm like,
yeah,
why?
And even then, like, if Clark is playing his dad during a flashback episode, I mean, if Tom Welling's playing his own, Clark's dad in a flashback episode, and he has an American accent, and these two have English accents.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep.
Continuity. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? There's been a couple of times in this show where it's I want to say it's violated in continuity, but it's like they say stuff and then episodes later or seasons later it just doesn't fit. It doesn't track because you're like, huh?
There's lots of that.
Yeah.
Lots of it.
Yeah. I was going to say something earlier when you were. Oh, okay. What did you think about the how Clark came to Earth? Meteor shower.
I was okay with it.
Did you like how because this is the first time I heard. When I was watching the show, it was the first time I was like, oh, so if they got satellites now, way back in the 40s when Superman was devised, they didn't have none of that, right?
Yeah.
So they can't detect something breaking the Earth's atmosphere like a rocket ship or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So I thought, oh, actually, it's really neat because it's a meteor shower, and the rockets cut within all of that, and then it's smashing all over like all over Smallville. And I was like, okay, that's actually really, really good way to how you can disguise the landing of a rocket ship from another planet. Yeah.
That's what I was like, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Especially in this day and age. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. I have to say as well, they then rinsed it by saying, okay, well, all these meteors that happen to hit people in Smallville at convenient times for their particular powers.
Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes it took ages for powers to actually come, and sometimes they have powers. They go in the accident and have to have the powers in that very episode. I think there was a guy he fell in a lake that had kryptonite. It was a frozen lake that had kryptonite in it. Yeah. And he fell inside it, and then all of a sudden he could he kept on losing his body heat, so he kept on absorbing other people's body heat.
Yeah, that was another weird thing you're saying now. Yeah.
Yeah.
It just never made sense.
Yeah. And what did you think? So also, these people, right? These Kryptonian Freak of the Weeks. The people that found out about Clark's identity, because obviously he's not Superman yet, but Clark has powers. They just happen to die or something at the end of the episode. I think the 80% of these villains, right?
Die.
Yeah. Conveniently by their own doing, of course.
Yeah.
So Clark doesn't have to live with the guilt. But yeah, they find out the secret and then they die. I was like, all right.
Yeah, plot convenience. Yeah,
exactly. What did you think about? So, okay. Clark never told his secret to people, right? I think in the season 3, he told his secret to Pete Ross. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me query about something else first.
Right.
Pete Ross, traditionally white guy, blonde hair, right?
Yeah.
So
becomes president or vice president of America. Yeah.
Yeah, but not at this point, right?
No.
Yeah. So when I saw the Eric Johnson.
Yeah.
Going out of Lana Lang, no less. I just assumed he was Pete Ross.
Yeah.
Turns out no, he's some original character, and Pete Ross is a black guy, and I was like, huh, okay. I mean, yeah. Did that throw you when you watch it?
No.
You were like, alternate continuity doesn't matter, yeah.
I'm not in that. I was like, oh, he's not like a main character or anything, or it's I just didn't think anything of it. I was like, okay, cool, Pete Ross.
Yeah.
Because I'll be fair, I don't think when it was going on, I didn't really know who Pete Ross was really in the comics anyway, because I didn't really read Superman, so I didn't really notice until a bit later. I was like, oh, okay. That's cool.
Yeah. So Pete Ross finds out this Clark's secret in season 3. Just so Clark has someone to talk to aside from his parents, I guess, when he has to fit in the plot or whatever it is, and he has to ask his advice, right?
Yeah.
And then I think... No, was it season 2? I think he found out. I think he informed Pete of his powers in season 2, because Pete found something in the bushes. I can't remember what it was. Was it the kryptonite rocket?
Reason.
I think he found the rocket ship. Yeah, somehow he found the rocket. Was it the rocket ship? Oh no, because at the end of season 1 they had the tornado. The cliffhanger for season 1 was that when he was going to the Marines. Right, a 15-year-old joined the Marines, by the way. Right, okay. Actually, no. Let's go to that first, right, and then go to this. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. So, how old did you think Whitney was?
They're the same age. No, I'll probably say 2 years older.
Well, that's the thing. I thought they were all supposed to be the same age. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because one time they go to Chloe Sullivan's dad's power plant or whatever, right? And then they get a hold up in the power plant by Tony Todd.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're all in the same class. So I was like, they must be the same age, right?
Yeah.
But then it's like, at the end of episode 1, he was like, season 1, he's like, okay, they turn 15 because Lana Lang has her birthday, right? So that means he's 15 and he joins the army. And that doesn't make any sense because I'm like, 15-year-olds allowed to join the army in America?
I don't think so.
Yeah, so he's got to be 18 by the end of season 1, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But then the 18-year-old dating a 14-year-old.
But wait.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to justify any of these whatsoever. Are we sure that they're not 15 turning 16? No,
because they're 14 turning 15, and I'm pretty sure of that because I'm pretty sure that is correct. I'm 90% certain they are. No, yeah, because in season 4 they graduate.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. I always thought, by the way, like I said, I pretended that in my eyes, season 1 and 2 are basically just 1 year for them.
Yeah.
Because that's the first half of the season. There's the first half of the school season 1, second half of school season 2. That justifies their age to me, even though the age they're looking anyways. But you just have to pretend the references of them being 14 or whatever don't matter. Yeah. That brings me to another point. We'll get back to Pete Ross in a minute.
All
there was an episode where in season 1 where there was a kryptonite fused plant or something, and it makes people's inhibitions go away.
Yeah.
So Lana Lang tries to seduce Clark Kent, and she's kind of wearing a loose shirt, and obviously it's a body double because she starts doing seductive gymnastic backflips in the swimming pool, right? And it's clearly a body double because it's like, well, yeah, because you don't see her head, of course.
Yeah.
Right? But it's like, hold on a minute, right? You show me she's in underwear, yeah.
Yeah.
And she's 14 at this point because the episode where she has her 15th birthday is later on. So it's like, this makes no sense. No. Literally, what are you telling me? Yeah.
Show.
And then I think there's one of the first episodes of season 2. Lana Lang's running the Talon for some reason, like the Smallville coffee shop. Yeah. And the pipe is not working or something like that. Clark has to help her do the plumbing or whatever it is. And he pulls the pipe a bit too hard and it sprays all over his top. And then he takes his top off. Right?
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, just for the camera.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. And he's 15 at this point, quote unquote, you know?
Yeah, 15.
Yeah. Okay,
knowing that they're 15 just ruins this whole show for me now.
yeah. Back to our boy Pete Ross.
Yeah.
After a massive sidetrack. So the end of season 1, Whitney goes off to the army. Lana driving him off because, you know, that's the last time we're going to see each other.
Yeah.
Massive tornado warnings coming. Clark goes to the prom with Chloe.
Yeah.
Ditches Chloe for Lana, and everyone's like, of course, right? Because that's what you've been doing the whole season, right? I don't even know why Chloe's going to be upset with you. She knows the deal. We know the deal.
Exactly.
Yeah. So then massive tornado, Clark. So season 1 ends with Lana's car the truck caught in a ditch. She's calling for Clark. Clark runs out in his tux. Her car gets a CGI car, right?
Yeah.
Because, you know, it is 2000s, right? It's not exactly the great CG because it's too clean. Gets caught in the massive tornado. Clark runs into the tornado, and then season 1 finishes, yeah?
Yeah.
Season 2, obviously, he somehow flies, because he must have run up the tornado to her, or, you know, floated up towards her, whatever. Anyways, he covers her in the car and rescues her and takes her to the hospital. And then he lies about himself being there. Of course.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I was never there. No, what are you talking about? Nah, mate, nah. I couldn't have been there. It's not possible. Right? I mean, Smallville school is all the way down there. And yeah, how could I hear you screaming? It makes no sense.
Yeah.
Gaslighting Lana as well, no less.
Yeah.
I don't know how this guy has friends.
No, neither do I.
And then, so the rocket ship was in the barn, in the Kent farm barn, right?
Yep, that's correct.
Tornadoes made such a mess of everything. They don't know where the rocket ship is. Pete Ross finds the rocket ship. Oh, it must be alien rocket ship. Clark being the gaslighter here. No, Pete. Maybe it's a prop from a movie or something like that. I mean, what would anyone want in Smallville? It makes no sense, right?
But
gaslight this guy as well, jeez.
Being Smallville, you know what I mean? He's like, okay,
yeah. And so basically, he tries to convince Pete it's not, and then where it is. And then I think at one point, when Pete's like, oh, no, we got to get, we call it the FBI, or, you know, we can make bucks from this. We can sell the story. And so when Pete goes back the next day to try and show people, the rocket ship's gone because Clark's taken it away, and he's made Pete look like a punk.
Yeah.
Or something like that, right? I mean, I know that Pete was upset when he found out because he was like, Clark, you lied to me, all this. Like, basically, because he did move the rocket ship or something like that, and it's like, humiliating Pete in front of whoever it is that, you know.
Yeah.
And then eventually he tells Pete at the end of the episode, look, it's my spaceship, blah, 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 right? Which is fine. I mean, like, it makes sense. It gives them someone else to talk to other than his parents and stuff like that. It worked, right? But then in the middle of season 3, Pete's been a boy racer all this time somehow, right?
Yeah, without people knowing, which made no sense to me. I was like, that's okay, sure.
In like the countryside as well.
Yeah.
And he almost crashed into Martha Kent, I think, at one point. I'm not sure exactly what it was, right?
Yeah.
Clark gets upset at Pete for lying to him all this time about being a boy racer, even though Pete never brought it up and never lied to him about, like,
no.
I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, look, I never told you about this part, therefore I did not lie to you about this part, right? But you blatantly lied to me about having powers and whatnot, yeah?
Yep.
So it's like, all right, so Clark, when people lie to you, you can be upset. But when you lie to people, you expect them to just accept it. Shut up.
Yeah, he's the worst. As I said, he's a super gaslighter. That should be his name. Super gaslight man, because he just gaslights everyone.
I mean, we're just joking about, of course. But
of course.
When you think about it these ways,
yeah.
But yeah, I think, did he lose a race or something like that, and he got in trouble with the mob or whatever it is?
Something like that. He owed a lot of people money from a race or something like that, and then that's how Clark got involved in it.
Yeah, Clark had to rescue him from getting kidnapped, and then he had to go and witness protection or something. He had to disappear, right?
Yeah.
And they were like, all right, so you made Pete know his identity for a season, and then then he disappeared, right?
Yeah.
And then you need someone else for him to have a conversation with about his powers. I did, by the way, like how Chloe found out. Not how Chloe found out, but basically, she'd been investigating for ages anyways. They're meant to be good friends, right? Mm. She moved to SmallVille when she was a kid. And she's got the Wall of Weird, so she's an investigative journalist, yeah?
Yeah. And
she's finding shady stuff with Clark, like his adoption papers and all this stuff. But because she's curious about her friends, yeah? Mm. It's never played like she's malicious in it, right? She's just a bit too nosy and curious because that's the nature of her character, yeah? Yeah. But it's never meant to be harmful. And then Clark, like you're saying, just gaslighting her all the way, saying, "Why are you investigating? Maybe my parents didn't want me. You ever think about that?" And she goes, "No, I was just trying to help you find your biological parents because, she had a reason for it, right? Basically saying, about rejection and stuff like that. You can't live your life being afraid or stuff like that because something happened to her, right? Yeah. And then Clark's like, just basically made her feel bad for trying to help.
As you do, you know.
yeah. No, but the thing is, it's just like, all he has to say is, no, I don't want to know because there's probably like, but he's trying to shut her down to stop investigating it. And then if he makes her feel bad about investigating it, it's just like, but you're not exactly being the greatest friend, Clark.
No, he's not.
But yeah, she eventually finds out in the middle of parts of season 4, where they had a girl teleporter, right? A teleportation girl. Yeah. I just remember the beginning of the episode where this happened, right? So they go into Metropolis, maybe Luther Court building or whatever, I can't remember exactly, for a tour, right? Mm. And all the children get in, all the kids get in, all the school kids, right? Yeah. Get in the one elevator, and then Clark, but it's not enough room for Clark and one other student, it so happens, right? Yeah. And they both then go take the next elevator. And it's like, okay, well, you're telling me you can't just split the amount of people. It just has to be convenient, by the way, because the elevator then, the cable falls or whatever it is, loosens and whatever. The elevator drops. Clark just reaches through the wall to slow it down. So then, obviously, he's going to survive. He doesn't know about the girl, right? Yeah. So he had to slow it down. And then she's like, oh, she looks at him, right? And then they can hear people coming towards the elevator. The doors aren't opened yet. Mm. And she hugs him, and they teleport elsewhere. Yeah. And then they're like, oh no, we never got on this elevator. We were still waiting for the next one. Yeah, all right. And then she infects him. Like, I think she got a little bit obsessive with him. I can't remember exactly what it was, but then she gives him red kryptonite. Yeah. And yeah, then people have to like he eventually she eventually takes the ring off him because she's like, oh, we can't have this relationship if it's a fake relationship, right? I'm the real Clark Kent, all right?
Yeah.
I'm not a real Clark Kent, but you know.
But yeah.
And then he's like, oh, after he's taken the red K off, he's like, oh, what are you doing? Wait, what is this? Because obviously, good Clarks come back to the fray. And then I think the people started calling her Psycho Girl or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
Got a bit. No, yeah, I think she had to go to mental hospital. I don't know exactly what it is, but she came back in season 4. A little bit of an outcast. Clark somehow gets in a relationship with her again, kind of, right?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe not. Kind of rejects her again, whatever. And then she's like, well, okay, fine. If you're going to be like this, right? I know your secret, right? And then I think so Chloe's driving around in a car or whatever. The brakes go out of the car because this teleport girl has cut them or something like that.
Yeah.
She then teleports into the car to take Chloe out of the car, right? And says, look at your friend Clark, the lies he's been keeping from you. Because by the time Chloe screamed, Clark was already making his way to rescue the car.
Yeah.
Catches the car, right? And while Chloe's doing the Kaiser Sose, looking behind the rope of the barrels, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And he's like, he just sees no one in the car and he sets it down. He's like, huh? And he looks around without his X-ray vision. He just decides to have a quick look to see if anyone's watching, and then he runs off, right?
Yeah.
And good on Chloe. She found out conveniently because someone else basically told her or showed her. But she kept it to herself for a good couple of episodes until Clark was kind of like, until she gave him enough breadcrumbs that he worked out that he decided to tell her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Actually, do you remember the ending of season 2? / the beginning of season 3?
No.
Okay. At the end of season 2, I think. So Lex's storyline, he was in a plane crash or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So he spends 3 months on an island elsewhere. Anyways, that's that side, right?
Yeah.
The equation. Clark, I think he puts the shard in his rocket ship, and it causes a crash or something like that. And his mum was Martha Kent was pregnant because Martha and Jonathan actually can have baby. Well, they couldn't really, but they found out they could.
Yeah.
And wherever caused, I think the rocket ship crashed into near where they were driving, and then caused her to have a miscarriage. And then Clark went super emo and put on the red cave because it's like, I don't want to feel anymore. And he runs off into Metropolis, and he just on his motorbike. Even though he's like, he got super speed, so that makes no sense.
Yeah.
But he wears all his black leather jacket and stuff like that, sunglasses. Yeah, so he goes to Metropolis, and that's the end of season 2, and then goes into season 3, where he basically he's wearing a balaclava, robbing banks.
Okay.
Yeah, working for Morgan Edge, and Chloe found out. Like in between the seasons, she's worked out where he is because she comes to his apartment, and he's like, Chloe, the only reason I let you know, right, where I am. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. She found out, and I said, okay, it's good that you worked out, but I ain't moving from here. But if you dare tell anyone, I'll run so far you can't. You won't be able to find me. So I think Red K Clark is probably more honest.
Yeah.
Than normal Clark. Yeah. But anyways, he's robbing banks for money. But actually he interrupts a bank robbery with his own bank robbery, which is quite funny. And then he's like, Morgan Edge don't like no one robbing banks but himself or whatever it is. Goes to Clark's apartment, shoots. So Clark's sleeping. Morgan Edge and his cronies decide to shoot the bed that Clark's on. When he's covered with his blanket.
Yeah.
And after they think they've done the deed, Clark just sits up like the Undertaker and just takes them all out like punks. Like, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Powers. I mean, come on. Are you going to say that your blanket has Kevlar in it?
Could be the Linus blanket from the shuttle or whatever, you know.
Yeah. And the same material that Kingpin has on his what's it called? Kingpin and John Wick have on their suits.
Yeah. Could be. Who knows?
Yeah. So that was that. Wacky stuff going on there. Any particular things do you remember?
Stand out to you? Not from those earlier seasons, no.
Okay. All right. Let's get hit me some later season stuff that you do.
Because I remember the season where I think it's season 5.
Yeah,
could be. And like the cliffhanger was, Bizarro came.
Yeah. Oh, the line being, "I'm just like you, but a little bit bizarre." And then the sunlight hits goes across the bizarre Clark's face, the Bizarro Clark's face, and it crystallizes a little bit, and then the ripples disappear because the sunlight goes as well. Yeah. Gleaming sunlight. Yeah.
Yeah, remember that.
Yeah.
Because didn't they unlock it? Something to do with a dam, and they unlocked him through that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, remember in that season, Lana Lang slept with the Bizarro Clark Kent.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I don't know if I would say Clark was upset, but basically, well, he is essentially but she didn't know it was you, and she wasn't really cheating on you because she thought it was you.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's not why the relationship broke up, but I think that was probably some part of it, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember Jensen Ackles being in it as Lana's boyfriend. I can't remember what season that was.
Season 4. And he was the high school coach, the football team coach. Yeah. So how old is he meant to be there to be a coach of a football team? Let's say 21. Let's give him the benefit.
Just to be nice, we say 21. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is season 4, so she's 17.
Yeah.
That might be all right, but still a bit...
Still illegal. But yeah.
Well, it's a bit distasteful as the student-teacher relationship.
Yeah, there's a power balance discrepancy there. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, you might, I don't know if you know this piece of trivia. Jensen Ackles and Tom Welling were the last two for being cast as Clark Kent in SmallVille.
Okay.
Yeah. So Kristen Crick had to, or basically, she was cast first. Yeah. So you could say the show was cast around her, but So they were the two finalists for the role of Clark Kent. And I think, look, Jensen Ackles is a better actor, way better actor, right?
Yeah.
But Tom just looks more the part.
Yeah, I can't see Jensen Ackles playing this Clark at all.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a detriment to his acting ability.
No.
He's great, right? But he's more Captain America to me.
I wouldn't say that. He auditioned for Captain America as well, and I can see him probably playing Captain America more than I can see him playing Superman. Yeah. But I can see him more playing like a edgy sort of hero. Not edgy, but you know what I mean, like a Red Hood-esque sort of hero.
Yeah, well, a character with a bit more of an edge to it, yeah?
Yeah.
Because... I don't know if you want to say the amount of episodes of Supernatural that influence how you look at the guy, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think his personality, like as evidence from later seasons of stuff that he has done, is like Clark Kent. Yeah. But that season was a bit weird.
Yes, because that's after the whole witchcraft stuff as well, isn't it?
Yeah. It's like, all right, okay. I mean, I'm not sure exactly what's going on here, but whatever. And I think it was meant to be a 2-season story arc. But they cut it short because Supernatural was going to film, so they released Jensen Ackles from his contract, so he could film that. Let's see. There was some other specific episodes. I'm not sure if you remember the Heat Vision episode.
No, I remember the Ice Breath episode slightly.
Okay. Let me give you the Heat Vision episode, and you can give me the Ice Breath episode. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Heat Vision episode, they're watching. So there's a heat wave in SmallVille. And they're watching a video on procreation, how the animal birds and bees, yeah. All right. And then there's a teacher wearing a sundress, particularly short one, because when she pulls the white screen thing that they play the stuff on.
Mm.
And that shirt is dangerously close to showing her glutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, they're playing Nelly. It's getting hot in here, right?
Yeah.
So then she's like sweating. Everyone's sweating, of course. Clark, for some reason, right, looks at her as the video's playing, then looks back and forth, and she's like, got to concentrate on the video, right? But it's just like, well, he probably won't be the only teenage boy looking at you. Anyways, we're going to allow that, right?
Yeah.
And then he starts looking at the projector, and it starts setting on fire because his heat vision is firing at it. Right? His heat vision is a metaphor. It's a metaphor for how do I best put it?
Erections.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. The male testosterone process. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All of that. But it's funny because how he has to fight it because he set the entire room on fire. Anyways, her power, by the way, she was how convoluted, right? She was in the throes of passion with her boyfriend when the meteor hit, right?
Yeah.
So now she has the power to seduce people via kryptonite pheromones.
Mm.
Yeah. But except she has no power over Clark because he's Kryptonian. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then there's the episode where he has to learn to control his heat vision. Jonathan Kent's like, Clark, see, when a man grows up.
Oh, yeah.
And these things happen with your hormones, right? It's probably it's not as cringe as I'm making it sound, but it's also kind of funny because it's the double talk, right? Yeah. And then Clark says, okay, that's enough. You stand over there, and I'll do my thing over here, right? Which, when you look at it, if you're gonna look at it metaphorically, he basically told the dad to leave his room so he could, he could beat the meat, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, so he's like, right. So they put a scarecrow down. And yeah. Okay. And then when Jonathan Kent leaves, Clark's like, all right. Let's get this going. And then he goes this because he says, Lana. And then his heat vision starts burning up the scarecrow. And then it's like, and then he puts his hand on his lips and nods and looks at his dad, and Jonathan Kent's like, thumbs up, man. And like, all right. So yeah, that's season 2, I think. Oh, by the way, just before you get to Ice Breath episode, there's later on in season 6 or 7 where Lionel Luthor and Clark Kent swap bodies, which they do a very good acting job as Tom Welling being Lionel Luthor being Clark Kent, and Jonathan Glover being Clark Kent being Lionel Luthor. On the other way around. Anyways, right? And somehow, though, Lionel Luthor is able to master all Clark's powers within a day of possessing Clark's body.
Yeah.
Whatever. But then he goes to hug Martha, and he starts shooting I-beams. Like, right, okay.
That's a bit.
Yeah.
Ew.
But you were saying about the Ice Breath episode.
I remember slightly. I don't know if this is how it properly happened. I just remember he had to break into a building to do Lex Luthor or something, or Lionel Luthor.
Yeah. And
he was on a communications with Chloe.
Yeah.
And she says something about his breath, like his lungs being capable of doing something, and she'd give it a try. And I remember him doing it, and it blew open the vault door.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that was a real weird way to introduce one of his powers.
Yeah.
Like no fanfare to it or whatever, just literally that. Because like this shop was all cool and everything, because it all slowed down. He should have the gate fly open and him doing the breath. I was like, oh, okay, that's cool.
Yeah. I'm not 100% sure on this, right? But I'm not sure if it's the episode where. Oh no. Is it? Because it's either the episode where he got his X-ray vision, but I don't think it was, or the episode he got his super hearing, where he got blinded as well. Where he started wearing sunglasses because he's kind of blind. But I'm like, why would you? It's super hearing. If it's the episode of super hearing, why would you wear sunglasses? All right. But then if it's the episode of X-ray vision, I don't think this thing happened so early in the season, right? Because he gets his X-ray vision in the 4th episode of season 1. But he wears sunglasses anyways, yeah? And Lana has to drive him around or help him wherever, right? And I think they're not on great terms then, right? And she says something, and then I don't know if she's been helpful. I can't remember the conversation prior to it. I just remember the line. And he basically turns to her and says, because it's like, just because I'm blind now doesn't mean the issues between us have this. I can't see the issues that are still between us, or something like that. Throwing shade at her, and it's like, oh, Clark, did you have to, try and burn her like that?
Oh, jeez.
But you were probably Clark. You cause so many issues between you and her because you have to lie to her so many times about certain other things. You rescue her, and then you got to lie to her that you didn't rescue her. Yeah. And then when she said about the kryptonite, whatever, the meteor shower, and then you got to be, basically my arrival to this planet basically killed her parents. I feel guilty, you know?
That's nothing to do with him. Why has he been there?
Yeah, exactly.
Emo douche.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you like what did you think of the Justice Society episode?
That was good. I did enjoy that. It was a bit weird.
Go on, tell me.
I don't know, like... Wait, had Green Arrow come into it at this point, right? If I remember correctly.
No, did he come in season 7? Because I think this was in season 5. 7. Yeah, I think this was in season 5. I think.
I'm trying to remember it.
Could be wrong. But the combined episode was called Absolute Justice.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember it now. I remember enjoying it.
Was it? No, you may be all right. Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. It's way later. I don't know why I think it was way earlier, but it's actually way later. This Justice Society episode.
Because Hawkman's in it, I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they make reference to the Flash.
Yeah. Jay Garrick Flash, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% on the icicle being the enemy that makes the Justice League Justice Society come out of the retirement.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't seem like a massive threat.
Right. I know, but I've noticed lots of media interpretations of the Justice Society. Icicle's always been a big thing. Even Stargirl and stuff like that. So I guess. So
what did you? I like the idea of the Justice Society had been there, all this time, but not, and there was a reason.
Yeah.
And I think it was the superhuman, it was Captain America Civil War where superheroes had to register or something like that, right? And they thought, F this.
Yeah.
Because this is crap. So we'll just all retire being superheroes and just live back into normal, society.
Yeah.
Right? Fair enough, because then it's that was from in the 40s to the 2060 years of not hearing about them, Fair enough. Yeah. What did you think of the Justice Society there?
They were okay.
Yeah, I think they have Dr. Fate, a Hawkman, you said.
Yeah.
Stargirl.
Wildcat wasn't there. Was it Wildcat?
There was a Wildcat, maybe?
Yeah, I think there was. Why am I not remembering? There was, and there's a Black Canary, wasn't there?
There was a Black Canary, but I don't think. But she wasn't she was part of the Justice League. Black Canary. When she wasn't the Justice Society Black Canary.
Yeah, so long ago.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, they like okay. As we're gonna go into that just a second, the costumes of SmallVille, they looked all right. Like the Justice Society costumes. I know Hawkman basically just had those wings and his like chest plate and stuff like that. But even the Justice League costumes, or what they weren't called the Justice League at that point, but Green Arrow's costume, Impulse's costume, Aquaman's costume. I mean, they kind of looked more Under Armour-y, if you know.
Yeah.
They went never high tech ish.
No, it kind of looked like we're starting out heroes. We don't have money or abilities to make stuff, sort of thing.
To be fair, their costumes probably look like costumes you would make yourself if you was a hero, right?
Yeah,
not like the ones that we see in superhero movies where they somehow got massive budget, right?
Yeah.
All the time to spray paint muscle tone on their costumes.
Yeah. Another weird little.
What did you think of Clark's costumes? Okay, first of all, Clark's costume consisted of in season 1, right? And you can correct me where I'm wrong, but mostly jeans.
Yep.
Okay. And some sort of primary colored t-shirt or jacket. So that was the combination of the beige jacket with the red t-shirt.
Yeah.
There was the blue jacket with the red t-shirt. There was the red jacket with the blue t-shirt.
Yep.
Yep. And then one time he had to because the red blue blur was being a bit more widespread about his existence.
Yeah.
So Clark had to try and get rid of all his red and blue stuff, right? Tips out his washing, only red and blue stuff. He's like, right. Yeah.
I wonder what your favorite color is. Yeah.
And this is where we split the episode into another part because it runs on for another 2 hours. So yeah, it's going to be a 3-part episode on our look back at SmallVille, the early years of Clark Kent and Superman, or whatever it is. So anyways, next part will be coming out in the next couple of days, and hope you all enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed this episode of us going down memory lane talking about SmallVille and the good and bad parts about it. I have been Kyle Charles and my buddy CY, who is not here because obviously this is a recording that happened a couple of days after we recorded this episode, as I edited it and split it into 3 parts. Anyways, remember, check out our YouTube channel. Don't forget to share this and like this with a friend. What else is there? If you're into Star Trek, check out the 4 Quadrants podcast, what is done by 3 of my friends, and they talk about Star Trek in chronological order from the fan's perspective. That's the right word. Hopefully one day I'll probably appear on that, and they should appear on this, because we'll see. Anyways, thank you all for listening, and I'll speak to you guys next time. Bye. Actually, no, that's wrong. And that's wrong. Outro. Oh, sorry. And thank you guys for taking a trip with us around the Multiverse. Bye.
Lex, if you open that box, if you get hold of that secret, there will be no redemption for you. No redemption. Ever. I was raised in your shadow. Now you're gonna die in mine. No one will even remember your name.